So recently, Tony Bennett died, and Sinead O'Connor,
and Randy fucking Miser from the Eagles.
Yeah, we've covered like shit. We could make a whole episode at the end of the year on deaths.
I know,
because every time it seems like we have one or two.
And you know, when you think about it, like rock and roll, blues music, it's like 100 years old now, give or take. Like our heroes are definitely, if they haven't already fallen off, they're gonna start dropping like flies.
Well, Tony Bennett was like the last of the crooner era.
Definitely.
So that, I would say that chapter in music is closed. Not to say that
it couldn't be reopened.
Can't be accepted or reopened, but
I know what you're saying,
it's
though.
just like there's no founding fathers anymore of that genre.
Not that it's not, like you said, not that it's impossible, but I don't see the crooner style being on top of the pop charts anytime soon again.
I would say no, but I would also say yes.
Exactly,
like,
you don't know.
Kids buy ink spots and shit, dude.
I know, it's strange.
There could be one of these people that are into that are like, oh, we're going to make a doo-wop vocal style, crooner kind of singer-songwriter group.
But are those people around? Like, you know what I mean? Like how those guys came up.
I don't know if they're around, but like are they they're in the process of being molded, I think, by some of the... I'm just going by like what we sell at the store.
Yeah, no.
Because we sell some of the most random shit. Like
I'll
have a table full of fucking Iron Maiden, Cannibal Corpse, MF Doom, just like punk shit, synthwave shit, like just everything. Like,
and they want John Denver.
And they're like, oh, we're gonna buy John Denver and the Ink Spots and the Mills Brothers, and it's just
definitely strange. Yeah, when I saw $25 on a Greatest Hits Ink Spot album, I kind of had to like pinch myself and make sure I wasn't in the fucking Matrix.
And that was cheap. Like Steve said that they were going like $65.
Crazy.
But I've asked other stores and they say the same thing. Like they can't keep that shit in. They used to be in their bargain bins underneath the counters, or even they just get rid of it and throw it out.
Yeah, like you can't have Eddie Arnold out. Jesus, that's not, you know.
Yeah. Well, there was a dude in here like a week or two ago that was like, this is a really cool place, but I'm disappointed to see, and it was actually Eddie Arnold. He was like, I'm disappointed to see Eddie Arnold tagged.
What is
he's like, wouldn't that normally be in the dollar bin? And we're like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, people buy that shit.
Well, I'd just be like, are you a Bob Dylan fan? Times they are a-changing, Dick.
I don't know, like the dollar records that were $1 or 50 cents before are now like 3 to 8 on average. It's weird.
Yeah, and it's weird. I think of movies, maybe.
Movies,
TikTok,
games, soundtracks,
all that
TikTok,
kind of shit.
All that stuff affects it to where people are listening to things that they didn't know that they even liked. Like the Smiths, like that. I see so many 18-year-old to 21-year-old-ish people that pick up the Smiths that are like, oh my God, Smiths, like that fucking love them, like out of nowhere. And I'm pretty sure it's TikTok. I don't use TikTok. So
no, neither do I.
And that's why Sleep Token got so big too, is because they did some song on there that people were using. Because I've tried up and down to understand why people like that band.
That's not my jam, dude, at all. That's not our jam at all.
I don't get it. But there's a lot of people that I know that typically are into like awesome stuff that are like, dude, this band's fucking great. And I'm like, I don't...
Anybody
they do a Meshuggah style breakdown once in a while, sing like teeny bopper breakup Taylor Swift type lyrics, and then add in like some synthesizer shit that seems to never quite fit in the right place.
I don't even know what song I listen to, but when you asked me about them and I said I've never heard of them and I listened to 45 seconds of whatever, that was, and I hate to say this, but that's all I needed to be like, no, I'm good.
I listened to...
And they had like millions of fucking followers already. It was like, what?
I listened to like probably 7 songs.
Yeah, like you're just trying.
I was trying, because I'm like, what am I not seeing here? Like, what is... Because I've read articles that are like, this band's groundbreaking. They're breaking genres and like mending blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I've seen other bands do shit like this that did it way better than what the fuck they're doing.
Is it just all promotional bullshit?
I don't know. I think it's just people like once a trend starts a wave, like that wave consumes the right people, and then other people like it or don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It just
guess.
is what it is. But it's like things come and go quickly. So yeah, they're hot now, but by the
Right.
time their next record comes out, people are gonna be like, "Sleep who?"
Yeah, it's definitely
Or maybe not.
it's
I
just,
don't
I
know.
don't know, yeah. I don't think full albums are like gonna be right now, are definitely not on like my kid's mind, you know. Like you
Yeah,
said, it's always like these single songs.
it depends on the kid. Yeah,
Right.
because my kid, like, he's all about them, but
But that's like
he's
it,
I don't know.
that's an exception because
But yeah, for
of
the
you.
most part, I don't see many kids like that, and I
Right.
think I rubbed off on him in that way.
Oh, not even, you did.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying though, is like, so your kid's like obviously cool and not the average. I'm gonna listen to fucking whatever's on TikTok.
yeah. So today we have a local band from Lansing, Michigan called Dropped at Birth. We have the singer, Augie, with us. We're going to jump into an interview with him here shortly. So we're going to preview the single called Annoy, and they do have an upcoming EP, and I don't believe there was a release date for it or anything yet in
He's
the
not
interview.
sure yet.
Yeah, but they are working on it, so if you like it, definitely stay tuned for that, and we'll have the Instagram for the band in the episode description, and if you like them, definitely go support their shit. And if you're in the Michigan area, like, and you can catch them at a show, definitely go do so. Unless you have anything else, Jeremy, I'm gonna jump into the single.
Everybody fucking enjoy the show.
We're here with Austin from Dropped at Birth. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Good.
Good. End of the week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
baby.
for taking the time to get right out of work and then come right into this.
You know it, man. Working boy lifestyle.
So what do you do aside from the band?
I'm just a laborer in construction, so
Okay.
odd jobs my whole life. You know, I've just been jumping around, but yeah, nothing to write home about. I always just tell people about the music before
Yeah.
the job.
Gotcha.
No, I was just curious. You know, we always ask like what people's day-to-day jobs are just to see, because I mean, like one guy we met was like a fucking vaccine physicist or some shit like that. Like he
was
invented
fucking
vaccines
insane,
and stuff.
dude.
It was
Yeah.
like, holy
Yeah, dude.
shit.
Like, yeah.
Working retail was like that. It's like you'd meet these people with jobs that you'd never even conceived of. It's like, oh yeah, I guess somebody does need to do that, huh?
Well, yeah, and it's like, well, how did you get into that? Into like, you know, it's like doesn't make any sense, you know. Like, who told you about that?
Or where
yeah, I've
where
had
did
several.
you
Yeah,
find
like-
like that job opening? Yeah.
It's weird.
Not to cut you guys off, but that's the
No, go
same
ahead.
way. I'm the same way with touring artists. It's like, what do you do day to day to
Right.
make this possible? You know?
Oh
I'm always
yeah,
trying
I
to
know.
pick
You
brains
always
about
wonder.
I
But
think like to successfully live off of touring, you kind of have to have like no obligations as far as kids and family shit go, because you kind of just got to be able to go wherever, whenever, and
Yeah,
use that to
that's the
eat.
base of the pyramid.
Yeah. Because if you got kids, you got like a job or a career or a wife or whatever, like you're going to be, you can't just be like, hey, I'm going to go to Germany for 3 months, peace.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to like arrange that, and then it doesn't always fit everybody's schedule, and
Well, if you plan
there's
to
a
keep a
lot that
wife and
goes
kids, more
to
than
it.
likely.
it's like, and when you think about it too, because now everybody knows what everybody does, but all of our favorite artists from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, they're like, oh, they're so awesome, but like secretly they're just the most horrible fucking people, like as fathers, husbands, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
got to be
Oh,
that
right.
sacrifice. You're in like the right position to just, go, man, right?
Yeah, yeah,
There
it's
you
true.
go.
It's a band, so we've got multiple members with everybody's got different life situations, but especially at this scale we're at, we're still at a pretty local level, so definitely no restrictions from lifestyle yet, but as opportunities get presented, we'll see what we're able to do, it'll definitely be novel to us.
Have you guys played? I mean, I'm sure you said local, but have you played any like out of state shows and stuff yet?
We haven't done out of state. We've got a couple of friends here and there, like in Chicago, places like that. But
Mhm.
furthest we've really gone is out to east side of the state, and then out west to Grand Rapids. So
Okay.
definitely want to expand on that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's cool. You're already getting out that ways, you know what I'm saying? Even 6 months in, it's pretty good, man. That you can draw people.
Right, right. Yeah, and we started gigging. I mean, yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I was gonna say,
Go ahead.
the band itself, so the drummer, the guitarist, and bassist, they'd been practicing together, I think, 4 months or so, writing the songs. And it's a Craigslist band, so I was just out there looking for something to do. And these guys were looking for a vocalist, so I auditioned. And this was around November of 2022. So I think our first show was in February. So
Oh, that's
even though
pretty
a lot of the
quick.
music was already written, as a group, we'd only been practicing about 3 months. I'd say it's just because we're so excited about the music. We all felt like they were in a place where they were ready to show people, and we were excited to get it out there.
You didn't know the other members of the band prior to joining the band?
No, I'm 26. I've been in, like I said, I've never toured, but been in quite a few
Mm.
smaller bands, and honestly, I'd say that's how 90% of them were started, was on Craigslist with no prior introductions.
That's actually cool because a lot of times it's like, we grew up together
Right.
or we played in this band together, or, there's usually like some sort of connection. So it's cool. I don't remember anybody lately that we've interviewed that had I just found this ad and I went and joined the fucking band.
Yeah, that's
So
cool to
that's a
hear.
cool story.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and I suppose it's like perspective too, because from my perspective, and that's like that's my one experience starting bands. Whereas like a lot of these idols I have, bigger bands I look up to, it's like you said, they've all known each other forever, and the band started at 16. So I've kind of got this envious aspect where it's like, man, I wish I could have gotten started with this same group of guys and put 10 years into it, see where it went.
Yeah.
It
But
all
I
sounds
mean,
great.
sometimes like you get just a project that you guys might all flow well together. And I mean, judging by your music so far that's released, it sounds like it's going well.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, yeah, I'm loving it. I think we're all having a lot of fun, and this is actually my first hardcore band and my first time doing vocals. So I
Oh,
think that's a
really?
big aspect. Yeah, that's a big aspect of it for me. Is like it's got this novelty to it, new way to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other bands style were you doing before? Was it in like the metal genre area or punk
So
rock or?
it's funny you ask that. I actually, not to throw a plug in right off the top, but I do have another active band right now called Bad Footing. It's in the pop punk, much lighter
Yeah,
side of
yeah.
punk, and so we're still actively releasing music, actively doing everything. And it was while this band was actually recording our first album. Like I said, I just had some free time on my hands, and music's my passion, so I figured why not try to not put all my eggs in one basket like I was in with one band, and just saw what was out there. And a big aspect of it for me too is a lot of these bands I'd started in my past were all kind of in the lighter punk genre. It just seems like when I kind of jumped the gun on this, I play bass
Yeah, yeah.
primarily, so that's what I was doing in these bands. And
It's an important
I
role though.
Hmm.
Like,
it is.
because everybody always needs a bass player. Like, they never need a guitar player. It's always a bass player.
most underrated fucking instrument
Yeah,
ever.
bassists and drummers. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, yeah, and I don't take offense when people don't know what it is because until I started playing, I didn't even know how to hear it. You know, it's like, what kind of guitar is that?
Sorry.
Sounds fat.
Why does it only have 4 strings on it?
Yeah, yeah. So I was definitely ignorant before I started playing, but
Don't
you know,
feel bad. I
about
was like that too.
Right.
I mean,
I think most people are. If they
yeah,
haven't seen them.
just like, oh, that looks cool. Oh yeah, just try this one. Only has 4 strings, and then, like you said, you realize there's a lot more to it.
4 fat strings.
Yeah.
I don't know, I always like the chunky sound of bass. Like that's what originally drew me to it.
Yes.
Cause yeah, like guitar solo's cool, and like you get a sweet riff. Like yeah, we love it. But you get that like perfect bass line, and I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I don't know who your like bass playing idols are, but like Peter Hook just jumped right in my fucking head as far as like kick-ass bass lines that you don't hear all the time, you know?
What was the name?
Peter
I
Hook from
admittedly.
Joy Division. New
Oh,
Word.
okay. Yep.
Just because he played so high on it, it was like, you know, at that first person that really made that popular. And I was, you know, that's where the bass is really up front.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a big aspect of bass for me is going out of the box, and you know you got to abide by the roots and stuff, but you want to have fun if you don't play a little higher up, mess with some chords and stuff.
Oh, definitely. If it's not fun, why are you doing it?
Right. But yeah, to wrap up what I was saying earlier, it was you know, when I got into this band, it was because when I was writing on bass for all those years through these different bands, it was always the softer kind of punk. And so I figured since I can't naturally write that stuff on a guitar, it doesn't come to me, why not just go with some guys who have already been writing that stuff and see if I can add something new. And so I'd never screamed before or anything. I just kind of showed up to an audition and grabbed the mic, and after a few practices, we had a couple songs laid out. So, or like I said, instrumentals they had laid out. I put some lyrics on fairly quickly, and we had us a few songs on our hands.
So lyrically, what are your like? What's going on? Because
That's all
we
over
don't
the
know.
place. Yeah, so that's a frustrating thing too, and I'm still learning because a lot of those previous bands I mentioned were, you know, extremely local to where I wasn't, you know, printing any physical copies of the music. I wasn't on distribution, so still learning the game in that respect. And you know, I've been trying to get those lyrics up for a minute, and they said they're approved, but hopefully people will be able to understand the growls soon enough.
I
Be
follow.
able to read
Cool,
through it.
cool.
But anyways, you know, it all depends. The first song we wrote was Annoy, and the lyrics on that one, it's just kind of about being able to tell that you're annoying somebody, and it's just the way you are, and how that can sometimes cause distance, you know, either being annoying or just simply feeling like you're annoying can kind of create a chasm.
That's an interesting point of view, man. That's cool. I've never thought about that.
And so there's
you've
a few
never
of those
thought
songs-
about if you're being annoying.
If I am,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm
Shit.
never annoying.
I thought about that all the
I
time.
was like, fuck it. If they think I'm annoying, they'll tell me to shut up.
But they won't usually is the issue. So you're like, am I?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I just never heard anybody write a song about it, I guess, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
It is cool though. I like that. Anyway, keep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, man. I'm sorry if I'm going on diatribes. So
No, keep going.
That's what
It's
we're here
also-
for.
you know, speaking over the internet, you got those weird gaps and shit. So sorry if I'm talking over you, but so that song, and as well as a few others, actually the 3 that are released right now, those were all written as instrumentals when I put the vocals on. And at that time, this band had been playing them for a bit. And even though they didn't have lyrics, they kind of had an idea with where they wanted the song to go. So they gave me just these 1-word titles for the songs. And I kind of just wrote lyrics based on that. Like I said, the first song, Annoy, that was just kind of about a general feeling that I thought a lot of people could relate to. The second song we put out, Waste, that was actually a pretty specific song I wrote in regards to a long relationship I had. And again, I'm sure that's a universal thing people could relate to, but very blatant, explicit lyrics in that one, just about feeling like you wasted time.
Oh yeah, dude.
You know.
So you're
I
just
mean,
coming
that's why
at
it's
like a
called Waste.
personal level, and not you know, you're not trying to be political or anything.
Oh, for sure. I think when I was younger, not that I'm an old man now, but when I was younger, I was definitely a lot more political, and I'm much more withdrawn now. So I think if I tried to take a stance in any which way, I'd be looking pretty stupid.
I do want to. I'll tell you like a side story, because I feel like a lot of people are like that when you're younger, you know, and when you
Yeah.
don't know what the fuck you're talking about really, and
Yeah.
I remember going to an Anti-Flag show, and they're telling, like, you gotta vote, blah, blah, blah. And I was probably I didn't even have a kid yet, so I was like 20. And everybody in there was like 15, 16. Like, they can't even vote, dude.
They can't vote.
You know, and I always thought that was funny. Like, you know, so, and I don't know about you, but a lot of shit changed between like 16 and 20 for me, you know.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
So I just,
Yeah, and I think
it's hard to keep it like that. To keep that up, I guess, is the thing I'm saying.
for sure. And I think you know, that's hilarious. It's a good point, but like props to the guys doing it, you know, putting out political messaging and stuff, because it's in punk rock, it's typically like left wing, you know, and freedom of choice, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
liberalism. But even if they don't know what they're talking about, or if they're preaching to 13-year-olds, it's like at least
They're saying
they're
something.
putting out, yeah, some sort of good message to the youth, because people really look up to those guys, you know,
Oh, for
even
sure.
if they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
For sure. No, it was crazy, man. Those little fuckers they'd bounce around pretty good.
Yeah, dude, it's anti-flag.
So what about
kind of like when Fat Mike did that? What the fuck was it? Punk for Vote or Punk?
Yeah,
Vote?
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't remember the name of it. I
Rock-
keep wanting to say Rock for Vote, but
but
that's
it's not.
that's Black Sheep.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
whole political event where he was like the anti-Bush campaign. That he
Yeah.
had.
And he had like he was like his red spray paint fucking shit was like his little logo.
Yep.
Anyway, so it's the most popular song on Spotify under your band, Dropped at Birth, Bottom, in quotation marks, 45.
Yes, sir.
That song's pretty hard, man. So what's the story behind that?
That sounds like a suicide title.
I know.
Hey, you guessed it, man. So that was we didn't plan it this way. Like, you know, as I said, there were a bunch of songs that they had written instrumentally that I got on, and then
Mm-hmm.
those just so happened to be the first three we released, oddly enough. So again, that one they kind of had a working title in mind without lyrics, and so
Okay.
one of those first few practices, that was actually the one where that was the first song I really heard by those guys, where I was like, I really like the sound these guys have. It's unique, and it's heavy enough to where I just want to scream over it. So gave me a ton of inspiration. They already had a title, and you know, I had personal acquaintances who have passed on from suicide. I'm sure everybody's dealt with the ideation
Mhm.
at some point. So it's easy to get intimate lyrically when you're writing stuff like that. And like I said, the instrumental was just so banging. It all came pretty naturally. But as you said, it is about suicide, and it uses parallelism. Most of the songs that we've written so far are pretty short. You got a hook with a couple verses or something. But this one in particular, you know, the first verse is, can't help but see I'm the problem, found what I'm chasing in the bottle. And then by the second verse, you know, it's compounding plethora of problems, found the bottle won't stop them. You know,
Oh, dude.
not that it's that profound or anything, but it's just saying that, like, more than likely you won't get where you need to be by choosing substances or anything. It's just going to bring you closer to suicide. You know,
Oh,
trying
no,
to
that's
distract
yeah,
yourself,
dude.
rather
That's
than fix the problem.
that's a good message to put out there for sure.
So it's like you know, a lot of hardcore music and stuff. It kind of romanticizes death and depression and things like that. Not to say I never have, and I wear all black all the time, shit like that. But I did want to put something out there where it's like the song rips. It sounds hard. It involves suicide, but it's not embracing it. It's not romanticizing it, and that was important to me.
Have you ever listened to Prayer for Cleansing?
I haven't. Unfortunately, I'm so ignorant to everything.
Well, they're kind of more they're like an older, like straight, like metalcore. I mean, kind of an
Okay.
originator in that sense, but they put out an EP called The Tragedy, which was like about the same thing. And
Okay.
where they had a friend that committed suicide or whatever. So they made this whole EP, and it was along the same basis as you're saying. Like, they're trying to, like, look, man, this is like some permanent shit. You don't want to do that, blah, 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 you know? So
Yeah.
it's kind of reminded me along of that. And,
Hey, and I just want to let you know I've got the notepad out because, like I said, I'm ignorant, and I know you run a record store. So any recommendations, man? You said that's Prayer of Cleansing.
Prayer for Cleansing.
Cleansing. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up.
Oh, dude, I can,
For the rec.
we'll send you a whole list of shit if you want, you know,
I was
after.
Please
gonna
do.
say that we could
Yeah, we
finish
could-
off the entire episode doing that.
Yeah, dude. But,
So you said this band is your first kind of hardcore style band. Were you a fan of hardcore bands going into the band, or did this kind of get you into that type of music?
I tried to do my best to just say I like guitar music because you step on so many toes if you claim you like hardcore and it's
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
right band or whatever, you know. So
right.
I'm only 26, so I missed the true hardcore wave, you know, in the 90s and all that. And so most of my taste is contemporary, like hardcore metalcore bands I'd point to as big influences would be like Counterparts off the top of my head. That was a huge one for me. Your Demise was a big one. Of course, now on the spot I'm gonna blank, but it definitely like screaming music has always been something I've loved. And as I said, it was just never anything I was really able to write naturally on instruments. So
Yeah.
it was really cool to be involved in something I've listened to for a long time. Also, again, with something that you know I've never tried before. So it's been a ride, man, and I really enjoy it.
What caught my ear was you guys reminded me of Tribunal Records, which is a label in the early 2000s. Like they put out Kill Whitney Dead's first. Like they put out a lot of them, didn't they? All of them, maybe. That's his label.
That's his label he
Yeah.
put out. Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
they had some other bands on that label.
That label's Dive Bomb now, is what it's called.
Oh, it's called
still,
Dive Bomb?
Yeah, it's still Matt from Kill Whitney
Okay.
Dead that runs it.
But like that style, from when I was like 16, 17, 18, 19, it took me right back there. Like your screaming, the music itself. I was talking to Ryan about it. I'm like, you know that like chugga chugga, like that's the only thing I don't know. And
Hell yeah, dude.
like you know what I mean. And
Yeah, yeah. Dissonance.
yeah, it was just like, oh my dude, I haven't heard anybody fucking do that in a long time to where it sounded good. It wasn't like like I don't know, it didn't sound cheesy. You know what I mean?
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
I mean, I'm taking credit for the instruments I'm not playing, but that was a big thing I said too. You know, when I walked down into the practice spot for the first time, I heard him jamming, and I was like, "Man, your guitar tone is like exactly what I would want out
Yeah.
of hardcore metal." And he and the bassist he's been working with for a long time, Art, who's the bassist in Dropped at Birth. Maybe now, even though I'm interrupting myself, it'd be a proper time to introduce him. Kelvin's the drummer, Bill is the guitarist, and Art is the bassist. I'm Austin, I'm the vocalist. So Art was saying that he's been through a few bands with Bill, the guitarist, and that he's been chasing that tone for a long time, and finally he got it somewhere he likes, so he's not having to twist his pedals every day.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds. You tell them it sounds fucking great, man.
Sweet, man.
Don't fuck with it.
Right, right.
Did you come up with the band name or did they have that?
No, that was the bassist, Art, and so like I said, he and the guitarist Bill, they've been in previous bands together for I'd say like 5 or 10 years. So I guess Art had wanted to use Drop to Birth for a few bands in the past, and it was always rejected. And as soon as I heard it, I was like,
It's like,
"That's provocative, man. It's simple, and it has been used before
I laughed.
once from what I've seen." But
I
Well,
laughed pretty
exactly.
hard, like right when, because Jeremy like reached out to you guys and found the band, and then he told me about it because we're always pitching stuff back and forth. And as soon as he said the band name, I was like, "That's fucking awesome." Okay.
Yep.
I was like,
Everybody
totally.
tell them like you got to check this out, and they're like, "Drop that." I'm like, "Right, dude." You know, and boom.
that's awesome, man. Art's gonna be stoked to hear that because I said the same thing. Like people turn that down. My concern was that it was like taken or being actively used. So
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I was
Well,
all for
people
it.
are always like scared to be controversial about shit now, which
Yeah,
I
That's
don't know.
dumb.
Like, fuck that. Just do it.
dude. I mean, not to.
I mean,
not
as
to make
long
it
as you're
weird or
not like
anything.
actually like hurting somebody, you know, it's just like Dying Fetus has been doing it for fucking ever.
Yeah, man, I just ran into that. There was a band called Round Eye that I just played with 2 nights ago, actually, here in Lansing, and they were it's a group of European guys who all met in Shanghai,
Okay.
and so they booked a national tour, and we were happy to open for them. But more than a few people asked me, you know, especially like people my mom's age and stuff, they were like, "Your name's Round Eye, isn't that offensive?" And I was like, "Well, technically, it's offensive against them, so."
Right,
I,
right, right.
I don't know. It's provocative for sure. You see it and you're like, ooh, but whether it's genuinely offensive or cause for concern is a whole nother topic, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think without like you said, without saying too much, people just got to relax.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Stop,
You
stop
just-
taking things in bad faith. You know, it's not
That
always.
sounded like a
not always
line
meant to
pulled
be.
right out of Dazed and Confused.
Smoke a little weed, dude. You'll be
Uh,
fine, man.
Yep. No, I was more like thinking like I had Bruno Mars in my head for a second, and I think he says that in his Perm song or whatever that my old lady really likes, you know. So that just popped in my head, and I don't give
It's
a fuck,
Perm
man. It's a
song.
good song. Something about relaxing the hair and shit. So you just gotta relax.
Yeah, I hear you.
Anyway, sorry.
So you guys are working on an EP, or you already have an EP finished and you're dropping it soon?
Yeah, so as I said, this is all new for all of us. Some of the other members have been in bands that have done physical releases, but they've never distributed through like these, DistroKid, things like that. And so we've got the EP mastered, ready to go. We've got a date we want to drop it on the distribution, independently by ourselves. But we're also looking at other options. And as I said, we're only 6 months old as a band, so expanding the networking. If something comes about before the intended release date we had for that, since we're just dropping it independently anyways, we might decide to do something else with it. But at the moment, it's looking like we'll be releasing it independently in September, and that's going to be a 7-song EP.
Oh, that's great, man.
Do you have a title for it yet?
Yeah, it's going to be, what do they call it? Not self-titled, but it's named after one of the songs we'd originally written as a band, which is Keep It Pushing. So that's going to be the Keep It Pushing EP.
Okay, cool.
Is there a name for that? It's not self-titled. I don't know.
It's like title track. The
Yeah.
title track. I don't.
There you go. Yeah. Yep.
No, that's also like it sounds like something you'd want to pick up. Drop that birth, keep it pushing. Like it's kind of almost contradictions right there, you know.
Actually, yeah, if you apply them both to
You know.
childbirth, yeah. That's funny.
I don't know.
I wonder
nobody
if anybody
suggested
else
that
is
yet.
going to pick that.
Well, that's exactly what I first thought of, man. Drop that
I'm
birth,
actually-
keep it pushing.
You might have to delete this. I'm really embarrassed that that's gone over all of our heads until now. So
Oh,
might have to
no.
scrub this one, boys. Restart it.
I think it's great, dude. I think people should get like a fucking gold star if they figure it out.
Yeah.
Every listener now just knows.
That's only for the real big brains out there.
You're releasing it independently. Do you guys have any plans to like try to pitch it to labels at all, or just kind of working on your own for now?
So I was, as a musician, operating under the misconception for a long time, for most of my adult life, that like if the music was good enough, it would find the right ears, and
Oh, no.
I'm now realizing
gonna
way
work.
too late that like you need a network of people. So
Yeah.
I'm playing catch up big time and trying to actively meet people while we're in this limbo period between now and when it drops. Just playing shows these past few weeks at new places. I've met a bunch of people that have opened doors and stuff. So I don't want to limit our progression, and say it will be something in a couple months when it may change. But as of now, I definitely don't have any industry connects that are gonna push it out for me, or for us, I should say.
I mean, that's kind of better to at least like start to get the experience, start doing it that way. When you guys,
Sure.
or if you do have plans to go that route, then you're kind of more seasoned for it.
Pre-established, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just like I don't know. I'm sure every artist feels like this to an extent. Like if you don't have an engaged audience when you're releasing something that's near and dear to you, you just kind of feel like you're sending it to the abyss, So I think we just all believe in these songs a lot. We're really happy with them. So we want to make sure it gets to the right audience and doesn't fall on deaf ears.
Oh, definitely, man.
And
Definitely.
that's so hard to navigate. And, that is something I'm doing a lot of research into right now. We all are, and trying to find the best way to go about this whole digital marketplace of it. Cause it seems like that's the best direction we can take as independent artists at the moment.
That's like your only direction you can take, to be honest. Like that's your bread and butter is all that stuff. And
Yeah.
Even if you are like, it's hard though, because to get your name out there and to have people paying attention or like checking it out even more than one time, like it takes a while to
Right.
build an audience. And whether it's
Yes, sir.
music or podcasting, YouTubing, whatever the fuck it is, like there's thousands and thousands of things that come out every single day. So for you to stand out on top of that, like it takes some consistency and determination.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've heard it said before, that everybody who gets into music, they think they can just play their songs and that's it. But you have to wear 20 hats at once. And I
Yeah.
think a new hat gets added every day, truly, especially if you want to remain truly independent. You really got to know the game. And being dropped at birth, I've done some research into search engine optimization, you know, because we're lacking there. Unfortunately, the first thing that pops up if you search "Drop the Birth" is just like tragic news stories. So
Right, right.
we're working on changing that.
Usually, yeah, like I would type band after that just to get the
Yeah.
right band in there.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd just get these like
Yes, but
mother drops child.
Well, think about that in like old hardcore bands or metal bands. Like just you type in Venom. You're not gonna get Venom, you're gonna get like something about a snake.
kidding.
I don't know, right? Judge. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll get Judge Judy
Yeah,
before
who
Judge,
knows? Yeah.
the band.
Yeah. I mean,
Or
like
Judge
unless
Joe
it's
Brown or
Gorilla
something.
Biscuits, that might pop up, but other than that, man, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. I've seen pictures of gorillas with biscuits when you
Oh,
type gorilla
really?
biscuits. Yeah.
Oh shit.
I think somebody probably did that as a joke to Gorilla Biscuits
Yeah,
itself,
probably.
though.
But in your case, I will tell you this, sir. It's the music caught my ear, and I think that's pretty cool. We listen to a lot of shit, and to hear something,
right.
I mean, it's really hard to sound fresh too in that genre. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So
Everything's in C minor, or
yeah,
it's kinda all the
yeah,
same
for
key.
sure. Yeah, I can't wait to hear more, man.
Yeah, you did make a good
Thank you, man.
point
That's
with the Tribunal Records connection
Yeah.
because it is very like reminiscent of 2002.
Yeah, there's like that little specific, like, I don't know, because things change so much, especially in our styles of music when it comes to like hardcore metal underground, like, oh, it's not cool anymore, like a month after or whatever.
right. It's cringe, dude.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
off that.
yeah.
No, I appreciate the recommendations, man. Like I said, I'm writing them all down. I got Tribunal and Dive Bomb, so I'm gonna go do a deep dive on that because most
Yeah,
of my music
both-
taste is contemporary, and
Both
I
of
have
those
a bad
labels
time going
have
up.
just like a solid run of killer bands.
Yeah, we could name all the like band names, but yeah, just anything you can pick 1, 2, 3. They're all gonna be fucking pretty primo, at least in
Awesome.
my opinion and Ryan's opinion.
So the stuff you listen to, you said, is contemporary. Like what do you listen to regularly? Because Jeremy and I listen to there's pretty much no genre of music that we don't dabble in aside
I
from
think
mariachi.
Yeah, I haven't got there yet.
And I'm not into polka, but
I already
What about like
already been
Himalayan
tortured.
throat singing?
I would do
You guys
that.
play that around the
but
office?
That sounds intriguing to me. Polka sounds like torture.
Yeah, I grew up in a polka community. I'll
Yeah,
never touch
dude.
it.
Right on.
That's a mission.
It really sounds like somebody's
Yeah.
killing the squeeze box, but no offense to the polka community.
Fucking squeeze
We love you
box.
guys.
Yo.
Yeah, I say I listen to guitar music just because my music taste isn't that broad in the grand scheme of things, but in terms of like alternative punk, I listen to everything from like the most indie acoustic side of it all the way to like extreme like blackened metal or whatever, So
Yeah, for sure.
so there's a lot within there. It's hard to pinpoint. I will say a couple of my major influences right now would be Taking Meds, Origami Angel. Coming up, some of the biggest bands that had influence on me were like Balance and Composure and Citizen. So that probably gives away my age there. But like No Sleep Records was really putting out some of the most influential stuff for me. La Dispute.
The only band like
Oh, I know. I remember La Dispute.
you remember No Sleep Records? They had that big fucking coffee cup sticker logo.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they'd send you 500 for free, dude.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. I do remember that.
Yeah.
La Dispute was like kind of avant-garde, like very. It was almost like fucking poetry, kind of. Some of it.
Yeah, they definitely embraced the spoken word, and that was my favorite era of
Yeah,
that band.
spoken
they had,
word was
two albums.
What I was looking for there.
Two, they had 2 albums back to back. Somewhere between the river was the first few words, and then Wildlife, and those two were really impactful on me. And then they fully switched to spoken word, I believe, shortly after that.
Yep.
So I haven't been keeping up too much, but yeah, definitely a big influence was that No Sleep.
Yeah, I seen somebody post a record of theirs on Instagram the other day, and I was like, fuck, that's a band I haven't thought of in years. So it's kind of a coincidence that you say that. But yeah, I was
Yeah, it is.
looking back right now, like I must have caught on at the beginning because the first 2 records were the only ones I ever heard.
Okay.
And I never listened past that, I don't think.
See, it's a coincidence for it to come up twice in such a short span of time for you, but it's weird if it doesn't come up more than every day for me.
Gosh.
A lot of speed conversation.
Yeah, I actually I just went and re-added him to my Apple Music so I can listen to him again because I was probably like 15 when they came out or something.
Yeah, I'm totally I'm older, so I don't know a lot of those bands really, really well at all. So it's all on YouTube right there.
I know Counterparts, Your Demise,
Counterparts I've heard.
Taking Meds. I don't know Origami Angel.
No, I've not. I don't know that one.
They're all over the place. If I could give you a recommendation, I'd say
Yeah.
Kami Gang. It was this double album they put out, I think in 2020, and it blew me away, man. It was like all I was listening to front to back for a while, and it blends, like I said, all those styles of guitar music so beautifully. Like it's got a little bit of metal, got a little bit of soft indie stuff. I was really impressed. So that's been a big influence on me since I heard that.
Right on. Thanks, man.
For
Yeah,
sure. Thank you guys. Like I said, I got a running list here.
We always have a running list when we're interviewing or even when we're just talking between the two of us. We're always writing shit down. That's the whole point of all this.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Can't keep it in my brain. It'll be gone tomorrow.
Yeah,
Fucking
That's why I gotta
exactly.
like either write it down or add it to my library so I'll see it and remember.
Yeah, actually, I love listening to albums, but typically I'll just put on every song I've ever liked is a big shuffle. And so something I've been taken to recently is saving things preemptively. And then as they come up on the shuffle, if I like it or not, I'll remove it from there.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I think that's kind of, I do that on accident. Like if I'm at work jamming something and I want to hear more, I'll do that and then go back to it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. Easy way to remember it.
I think my Apple Music library is like 58,000 songs, so it's a big ass shuffle.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
When
that's
you guys
a-
being record heads too, I'd say that's only like half of your favorite music, probably, right?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a lot of
that's probably
stuff
not
that
even online.
is not on streaming services that I listen to. That I either have like CDs of or old records of or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's crazy what's not on that shit.
For sure. Yeah, I came up with LimeWire. That was when I started really getting into
Yeah.
music.
Yep,
Again,
I
showing my
remember
age, but
LimeWire.
like
There was a
I was,
program called Kazaa before LimeWire, and then
Yep.
LimeWire came out.
Bear Share, they had a few there.
FrostWire was one too. Yeah, BearShare.
Yep. Yeah, so like I guess when I was younger than before that, I was too young to purchase my own music, obviously, and I would have rather gotten video games or whatever than CDs. So I was getting all this music online, and even then, I look back and I miss it because everything was so categorized, and I was putting names on everything and stuff. So I really knew what my favorite songs were and bands. I could tell you off the top of my head, and now that I kind of have everything on this digital playlist, it's like I don't have to remember. And so when you guys ask me if my favorite bands, it's almost like I gotta address the list first or consult the list.
Yeah,
That's
because
super
your
unfortunate
brain
for me.
gets lazy.
Yeah.
It's like, like for me, I come from an era of rotary telephones, and I remember when it was like, yeah, you got touch tone, all right? And then now it's like, you don't even have to talk to people. You can just text them. So it's,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah. It's
And I
whatever.
only remember 2 phone numbers, and I used to remember like,
Wasn't that
50 of them.
wasn't that an R.A. the Rugged Man lyric that you just
Yeah,
said?
yeah, oh.
I come from the era of rotary
Maybe,
phones.
maybe.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think that was
That's a good
Springsteen.
fucking record, by the way. Because he's R.A. the Rugged Man's a rapper, and he's like, at least for me and Ryan, because we have teenage sons. It's like a lot of the shit that those guys are like talking about now, because they finally came off the road and are having kids. So it's like we can really relate to the funny shit they say,
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that. I could think of a similar band in hardcore that's Drug Church, like where, they're all
Oh,
older
yeah.
guys and
Yep.
it's like very comedic lyrics, man. I always point to those guys. I love it's like I don't know, comedy and serious music is, if pulled off well, it's really good.
Right. Well, I mean, it's
Or irony.
it's kind of like I'm not really into stand-up comedians, but like Ryan, you are, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of reminds me of that in a short, like in 3 minutes instead of like the HBO special, Like it's funny, but it's serious at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
And I
know.
think you know, there's a form of poet or aspect of poetry to it where you, with stand up, you're kind of telling a story. With lyrics, you know, you do have to have a certain rhythm to it, and it's got,
Oh, for
in my
sure.
opinion, it definitely takes a certain kind of writer to work irony or comedy into their music. I certainly can't do it.
Well, that brings me to a question. Have you written, journal cap, anything like that, or did you just start writing just for Dropped at Birth?
I've always been a bit of like a grammar and English nerd.
Okay.
I'm a bit fascinated like with vocabulary and stuff. Not that I'm incredibly well read or anything, but I think like the art of language is really cool and just how it can convey things with such particular words, you know. So I've always had an appreciation for that, but I can't say I've ever been a writer by nature. I will say though, like through playing bass for 14 years now, there were, you know, more than a handful of songs that I just eventually developed lyrics for because they were just riffs of mine, you know. So I'd say prior to joining this band, that was my main source of writing, honestly, outside of schoolwork, obviously, as a kid. But now, actually, since joining Drop the Birth, I started a solo project because I had a bunch of those songs, and so now it's like writing's actually a fairly big part of my creative life.
Well, that's
It's
cool.
it's kind of just happened naturally, really.
Yeah, that's good, man. Because I writing's a good outlet, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you don't even know what you're putting down on the paper, and like with some of those songs I've written with Drop the Birth, like months later, it occurred to me what I was saying. As weird as that sounds, you know, maybe there was a subliminal message that
That you
either I
didn't
didn't
catch.
intend to put in there, or yeah, that I
Yeah,
just
that's
didn't
cool.
catch.
So going back like earlier on in your life, when did you start playing? You said you started off on bass. When did you start really getting into that?
So I can tell you the exact story. Like you know, I talked earlier about that song "Bottom," our most recent single that
Yep.
dealt with suicide, and the when I think about suicide, I definitely think about a longtime best friend of mine who passed pretty young at like 19, and it was actually he and I we connected on music as kids, like through emo scene bands like Asking Alexandria and Escape the Fate. I don't know if you guys were too old at that point, but
I
No,
know
real
I
I
know
like
all those bands
I
just
know.
real
from
hot topic,
radio.
silly band type bands, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
And I
gateway. I
still
like
love
to
it
call them gateway bands. I mean,
Hot Topic is a very good way to put it. But
oh yeah,
for
gateway
sure.
gateway bands really, yeah,
yeah.
because
It's
they're
like the
like,
nicer way to
yeah,
say it.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, I'll laugh all day about it because it is comical, especially looking
Right.
back there. But I still listen to it. It's on the shuffle, so
no, there's some of that.
not
Like
too
I
proud
still
to admit.
listen to Senses Fail every now and then, and I don't know, shit in that realm. I still dabble
Sure.
with a little bit.
But yeah, I guess Hot Topic was more accurate than I intended because it's actually part of the story. So that friend and I, we were super into the same music, and just one day we were at the mall at Hot Topic, of course, as emo kids do, and we saw this little mini magazine for our favorite band at the time, A Day to Remember. They were really blowing up, and there
Yep.
was an origin
Yeah.
story for that band in the magazine, and both bought this magazine right when we were kids. So we both went our separate ways home with our parents, and then we ended up talking later on that night, like on the computer. And I was like, "Hey, I just finished reading this article, man, and like it sounds so fun to be like those dudes. Like I'd love to do this." And he was like, "I was just thinking the same thing. Like I just read that article." And so I was like, "All right, I'm going to play bass because everybody plays guitar." He's like, "Well, I want to play guitar." So that worked out, and I think that was we were both just about 13, not long after we convinced our parents to buy us our first instruments. And I'd say I didn't even really start taking it serious. Didn't even join my first band till like 5 years after that, just because besides him, I didn't really know anybody else who was into the music. So it was a lot of just practicing in the room from there until the age of like 18 or 19 when I found a Craigslist band.
Yeah, my kid plays guitar and he's been having that dilemma. Like, he can't find anybody that's into, because he's into, like, he got into music, well, probably since he was born because I was always playing it. But
Sure.
he was listening to, like, the Misfits and shit when he was, like, 6. So now he's into, like, Dark Throne
Yeah, he's
and,
fucking.
like,
He's into badass shit.
Bathory and, like, Sisters of Mercy and just all this, like, he's got a pretty bizarre, wide range of music for a 12-year-old. And he's like just now got friends that are like, oh, you ever heard of Metallica?
Oh
And
man.
he's like light years beyond that, so he's been having issues trying to find people to play music with.
Yeah, seriously. It's like you curse that kid. He's too esoteric.
Yeah, right.
His taste is too refined for a 12-year-old.
He comes to me with some shit sometimes, and I'm like, how the fuck do you even know that band? Or like, I'm writing stuff down, like, and what else you got?
Yeah. Sorry.
That's awesome, man. That's
No,
that's
I
cool to
love
have
it,
that in
dude.
common with your kid too.
Yeah.
Love it. But I could see how that can be a problem, and I see it as time goes on due to like other kids do other shit or have other outlets now, or like you said, you would rather buy video games than CDs, like when you were younger.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
and
One's got moving people with swords and magic, and one's
no,
just
yeah,
this.
totally, man. Now see, and like for
Well,
me, that
actually, if
wasn't.
you buy the right CD, you can get that.
Yeah, right. But I noticed now a lot of, and I'm sure you have, Ryan, a lot of younger kids. And when I say younger, I guess I mean like 13 and under that aren't Ryan's kids. You know, they find their music through video games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, sure. I mean, I'm guilty myself. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the video game series Fallout, but
Oh, yeah, dude.
I played the
yeah,
shit
it's
out of
yep.
Fallout.
it's got that real retro like 50s doo-wop kind of thing,
Yep.
or crooner maybe would be.
Yeah,
But yeah, that I
we
mean that was
sell
my
a
exposure to that
fuckload of
music.
ink spots at the record store because of Fallout.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I'd never heard anybody talking about that kind of music my age, obviously before that game dropped, but
We couldn't figure it out because I was like, why are people buying this shit? It's like, it used to be we'd have rooms of it, and now I'm usually out of it. Like, I cannot keep the shit in. And then some kid
Even
was
still,
like,
huh?
it's from Fallout. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, yeah, that's right. I just like kind of, it was background music when I was playing the game to me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and part of that could be because maybe you heard your parents or grandparents play it, and maybe I did too at a point, but could just be how nostalgia works. If
Yeah.
you got a good memory tied to it, it can make anything sound.
Yeah, or even if you didn't have a memory and you heard it, it might trigger a memory or something.
Sure. But yeah. I mean, that's a good example for me. Like I've got that stuff in the daily rotation now that I heard it from a video game. And the Ocarina of Time, man, that's got a few compositions in it that like still to this day are some of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about Zelda now?
No, because that's the only game I know.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that's a whole nother
I was going to say,
podcast,
we
dude.
could go on a long tangent on that. Played a lot
start a
of
second
hours
list.
worth of Zelda in my life.
Man, I remember playing that flute on that 64.
Yeah. I still remember some of the C button combinations to make the song, like to
Oh, I
call
don't
your horse
remember
and
any.
shit like that.
Oh, hell yeah,
I
dude.
still have a
So.
64, so occasionally I can jump into
Yeah.
Zelda. I don't have Majora's Mask, though, but I do have the other one.
Anyways,
Sorry.
oh, now I'm thinking like, I wonder if Nikolai has that.
So I did want to ask another question related to the EP. Did you guys go to a studio to record, or would you do it kind of in-home type of thing?
We went to Troubadour Recording Studios right here in Lansing. I was acquainted with the producer there, Corey, just because in a previous band I'd had my other currently active band, Bad Footing. We just late last year recorded our debut album there. My guitarist in that band found this producer, and it was my first time working with him, and his credentials are insane and his talent's crazy. It's like watching him work an instrument just using a keyboard and a mouse. Seriously, like the things he's able to do to recorded songs is amazing. So this will be the second musical project that I've worked with him on, and it's cool too because like I said, that other band's like pop punk, and just seeing what he was able to do for both of these bands and their vastly different sounds was really cool. He's definitely a talent I'd recommend to anybody, because I think he does a lot of work for MSU around here, and by nature of that, he does a lot of like jazz and classical type music.
Fuck, that's cool as
So
shit.
the fact that he's even willing to work with a hardcore band, we were all super stoked, and he's got so much talent.
Yeah, that's cool. Jeremy, did you tell me that they were a Michigan band originally?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I must have been
Okay.
blanked. I've had such a busy 2 weeks
This
that
is,
I keep forgetting stuff.
How I've
Very good.
actually, I'll tell you how I came across Dropped at Birth was through noecho.net. And
No kidding.
Yeah, and I checked that because I'm a fucking hardcore kid at heart, like it's really hard to fucking sift through shit. And I like that website because it's like every day they're like, check this out, check this out. So, I was just clicking on bands and then I heard it and then I was like, oh shit, and then I dug more in. So that's how
100%.
I heard about you guys. That was
Yeah,
from
so-
June 27th, I think, was when that got.
Yes,
I
so right
remember
after our
fucked
last
up
single came
numbers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was all on board once I heard the name, but I must have blanked when he said Michigan. But when we were talking earlier and you said you were in Lansing, I was like, oh shit, that makes the Michigan connection even cooler.
Hell yeah, dude. No, I was super stoked when you guys invited us on, man. Like I said, I listened to a couple episodes, and yeah, man,
We
a really cool
appreciate
thing you
that,
guys are
man.
doing. Hell yeah. Everybody rate it 5 stars if you're listening at home. We're watching you. We know you listened and didn't rate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
you out there too.
actually, come to think of it, we don't have a whole lot of ratings, so
Because people
we
are
have a
lazy.
we have a whole lot of listeners though. So like, if you're listening, yeah, definitely go rate that shit.
That
People
being
don't get it,
said,
man.
I
It's
didn't even rate our own shit, which we could have done that, I guess, but
I did.
I didn't. I'm lazy.
I'm one of like 12 ratings or something.
I'll make it one of. I'll add another one later.
So, have you ever been up in northeastern Michigan, or were you born and raised in Michigan?
Yeah, I'm from Grand Rapids.
Okay.
And like I said, I played instruments over there. I think my first two bands I started over there, and there's definitely a really good scene, especially for hardcore. Since I've left, I've seen a lot of really good hardcore bands come out of Grand Rapids. So there's a tinge of regret, but Lansing was just a lot cheaper of an option as far as Michigan real estate goes, because Grand Rapids is really on the up and up. So
Yeah.
that's why I moved out here. And like I said, I'm still trying to find the real true underground alternative scene, but because it's a smaller town, it does feel like a cooler community when you do go to those shows that are packed out.
Oh, dude, I've seen some
People all
fucking
want to be there
badass
to,
shows at Max Bar, dude.
yeah, man, it was looking scary for a minute there during the pandemic. They said they weren't going to open back up for music. So I know everybody I know who listens to alternative of any kind was really happy to hear they're doing music
Yeah,
again.
fuck yeah. That's real intimate.
Yeah, it is for sure.
So how many shows in are you guys? Quite
I'd
a few?
say,
Like you're pushing pretty hard?
yeah, like I said, we started in February. We've maybe had 10, 15 tops.
Oh, that's
Oh,
clipping
that's
pretty
pretty
good.
good.
Especially with
Yeah,
everybody working and shit, you know?
yeah, exactly. That's
Like
the
you
thing,
said.
man. And yeah, our guitarist has kids, like you guys were saying. So everybody's got their own challenge of some sort. Our bassist, right after I joined the band, which obviously no fault to him, he found a good deal on a house in Marshall, so that's an hour away from us. So just this week we had a gig on Wednesday. He really had to make it work. He works in Lansing, thankfully, but he had to kind of stay the night over here so to get to work in the morning. And
Oh,
I,
gotcha.
I I appreciate this band for that reason, man. I always tell them because it's like they all care enough to make small sacrifices. We're not gonna tell them to abandon their family, but it's cool that everybody enjoys what we're doing enough to make those sacrifices.
Well, yeah, if you don't, it's not going to go anywhere, you know?
Right, right. Especially at this level, nobody's paying us to do it. It's definitely a labor of love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we love it, so fucking keep on doing it, man.
Hell yeah, man. Like I said, thank you for the opportunity and
And
the
touring in
exposure.
general is the best way to, one, make the connections, but two, get people to be like, oh shit, that's that one band.
Right.
Sure.
Plus,
Look
you
out for
guys
next
have an
time you're in
awesome
town.
name. So, and if you you gotta make funny T-shirts, because it would just be, I would buy the whole run of fucking comedy Drop Dead Birth shirts.
Yeah. So that is something we're trying to toe the line of, like, I think I specialize in sincerity when it comes to art, and I need to stop being so self-serious, but I don't want it to become a bit per se, where it's
Right, right.
like, oh, we were dropped at birth, 3 years in and we're still running that. But it is definitely, such a good phrase that there's a lot of opportunity to play on it.
Yeah.
I'm wary of killing the bit too early.
Yeah, no, don't oversaturate it, but definitely have at least one funny T-shirt.
I'll get back to him on that for sure.
Okay, but I'll say this though too. When I heard, okay, so I heard it and then the name, and I didn't think the name was funny until Ryan kind of
Probably
pointed
till
it
I
out
started laughing at it.
because I took it as like, fuck man,
Well,
that's basically like Born to Lose, you know. So it's like
yeah,
I took
Sure.
it like that
that's
at
a good
first.
way to. That's kind of like Born to Land Hard.
Right, right.
That's a good way to look
Mhm.
at it. But like I looked at it as like, "Whoa, were you dropped at birth?" you
Yeah, and then
fucking
I'm
idiot."
like, dude, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
So
that's mainly the reaction we get. Like, oh, you guys don't look like it, or which one of you was dropped.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I think,
They expect you to all have dents in your head.
yeah.
well,
Yeah,
as I
that's
said, I
gonna make
didn't
a
come up
joke.
with the name, but what I think jumped out to me so immediately is just that it's provocative, in any which way.
Yep.
Excuse me, in any way you want to interpret it, it just catches your attention, and so I like that too. I try to avoid like being overly flagrant or blatant. So it's like just leave it a little open ended, open to interpretation, whatever.
Oh no, it's perfect, man. Because then you're hitting all kinds of markets.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the clinical field, we're supporting
Yep.
infants who are being dropped unjustly.
Yeah, you could-
Unjustly.
Yeah. Please place your kids in their incubators. Oh man, yeah. See, it could go on forever like that.
Yeah. Like that could be an intro.
Yep.
No, I definitely think if we were to pursue like a self-titled project, in the vein of some more classical hardcore, previous bands who are in the scene seem to do a self-titled album at some point, and so I think we'd probably lean into it for intros and outros, intermission kind of things. I think that would be a
Yeah,
really
that'd
cool
be
touch
dope.
for sure. Can't give away too much of the secret sauce.
No,
so.
no. Now my
Yeah.
brain's just really going with these ideas.
I don't want to keep you too long, but I don't know what episodes you listen to, but you might have heard this question be asked. So you're like mainly primarily into kind of, you said guitar music, so
Sure.
punk, metal, pop punk, that, it's a mixed bag of things without getting too specific on genres. But so what is something that you listen to that people would not expect that you listen to?
It's funny you say that because I definitely heard this question. I had the thought like I'm gonna prepare and look through all my obscure music and really
And you didn't.
blow these record heads away. But yeah, like I said, my musical memory is trash since I rely on Spotify now. I'd say if people just heard me from Dropped at Birth, I'd say like Phoebe Bridgers, that Boy Genius record that just came out.
Yeah.
Indie music is definitely playing a big factor in my influence lately. But then again, as I said, I've got a solo project now where I'm doing indie music. So in the case where that didn't surprise somebody, I'd say there's a few hip hop artists I like Earl Sweatshirts. I don't like shit. I don't go outside album.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a great
record.
album, dude. Yeah, I have that too.
I mean, that's like a vibe that just couldn't be recreated.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Every track belongs together. That's what an album is to me. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, no, those are good. Phoebe Bridges is somebody that I had to get kind of familiar with because just for the sake of the store, so I could check out like if she's worth stocking or if
Sure.
my people around here are gonna buy them, or I got to do that a lot. Like I just did like PJ Harvey was somebody that I just checked out like last week because I see everybody talking about her.
Yeah,
new
she's
record.
making like a
Mhm.
big comeback. She was popular when I was like 10,
That's what I thought. Is that she sounded familiar,
Yeah.
but.
so that tells you how old I am.
But yeah,
But-
anyways, man, we don't have anything else immediately here for you, and I know it's Friday, and you kind of probably want to get going and chill and do whatever.
I got to
One-
shower, man.
yeah.
One step at a time.
Yeah. So
Shit, I thought you were gonna, dude.
No,
Never
I ended
got
up setting
around
up a
to
mic
it.
for 15 minutes.
Gotcha. Thanks for the sacrifice.
Oh, of course.
but yeah, man, I appreciate
thank you
you
guys,
taking
too.
the time to jump on the show and sit and talk about the record, and definitely like we will be looking forward to it and be posting about it, and if you make up physical copies, I'll buy some for the store, etc. And yeah, I would look forward to it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude, we'll keep
Thank you
in
for the offer,
contact.
man.
Definitely. We'll
Yeah.
send you big lists of bands you can study while you're at work.
Yeah, please do so I can start impressing people because anytime people start talking bands, I'm like, I don't remember.
There you go.
You got to work that brain muscle.
Yeah. We'll make some flashcards.
Yeah. Fucking flashcards.
No, but thank you guys. And, I don't want to be too ruthless with the plugs, but as I said, Dropped at Birth is a pretty new band. And we were offered a show opportunity here in Lansing at a new venue, August 31st, with sponsored by the radio around here, Q106. So that's a really big show for us. We're trying to sell some tickets to that right now.
Right
If
on.
anybody's interested, look us up. Get at us on Facebook, wherever. And yeah, thank you guys again for having me, man. I love what you guys do.
Yeah, thanks again, man. I'll have links to all you guys' social stuff in the episode description, so anybody listening, go follow them, check out their music, etc. But all right, man,
And
you
rate
have
this
a
podcast 5 stars because we know
Yes.
you listened.
Really great shit you're doing, man. So yeah, everybody out there, check it out. Dropped at
Hey,
Birth, Lansing.
all right, man. You have a good weekend. Thanks again.
Yeah, you too, guys. I'll keep in touch.
All right.
Peace.